Hello again, this is Entropy. Today I wanted to talk about Zen Buddhism, what it is to me, and of course its history and a basic idea of what Zen Buddhists believe. I have been a Buddhist for several years now, since 2005, I believe. So I have found in it the peace that I so desperately need, so that we all so desperately need. Um, I, like many other people, can have problems with anger issues, and meditating every day helps me to keep things under control. Meditation is the cornerstone of Zen Buddhism. Let me tell you a little bit about the Buddha first. The Buddha was born in India about 2,600 years ago. He was a prince. When he was born, his parents were told, the king and queen, that the Buddha would be either a great warrior or a great teacher. The king wanted his son to be a great warrior. So he knew if his son knew too much about the world, that his son may have compassion for other human beings and not be the great warrior that he wanted his son to be. So he kept him in the palace and didn't let him, growing up, didn't let Siddhartha, his name, Siddhartha the Buddha, he didn't allow his son to go outside and witness the terrible things that go on in, real life. He wanted him to be protected from it. Well, that didn't work. Eventually, the man who would be called the Buddha went out and saw the suffering in the world. The Buddha had a very, very big heart. He loved human beings, and he wanted to find out why there is so much suffering in the world. Now, this is a very long story, of course. I will be finding a much better description of his life story and put it in the description box if you're interested. He eventually got frustrated with the aesthetic life he was leading. Back then, and even today in India, aesthetics, people who try to go out and punish their body in order to get some understanding of their spiritual side. They sit out in the sun and in the cold with naked. They don't eat. They roll around in thorns. I mean, they do some pretty dramatic things in order to try to separate themselves from their body and understand their spiritual side. Well, the Buddha had fasted for so long that he almost killed himself. And he was laying on the side of the road, and a little girl saw him and gave him some milk, some rice milk, and saved his life. At that point, the Buddha knew if he continued in this manner, now he had given up everything to go out and lead this ascetic life. He had left his family, his wife, his son was 2 years old, I think, to go out and to find out why there was suffering in the world. Well, he had to endure some suffering for a while until he realized he's not going to get the answers he wants this way. He's just going to die. So he found the middle path, they call it, which you don't want to go too far in the aesthetic way, and you don't, of course, want to go into debauchery, I guess would be the opposite. He found the middle way, and he decided, after pretty much everyone had abandoned him because they thought that he had, started going the way of the world again, he decided that he was going to sit under the Bodhi tree, and he wasn't going to get up until he found out the answer to what was puzzling him. Why is there suffering in the world? Now, he sat under that tree for a while, and eventually he came to this understanding. There is suffering in the world because we desire things too much. I am generalizing a lot, because I don't want to go into specifics, because I really am trying to convey what it is that I feel about Buddhism. And my feelings about Buddhism are no more relevant than anyone else's. However, I cannot understand anything unless I understand it from my perspective, of course. Now, when the Buddha came to the conclusion that the reason why there's suffering in the world is because of desire, he also came to the conclusion of how to at least diminish desire in someone's life. Meditation is a major cornerstone of Buddhism, especially Zen Buddhism. I'm gonna put down here a link to what's called the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. Also, if you're interested in that, I may do a separate video just about that. Today, I just wanted to give a general idea of Buddhism and how I perceive it. The Buddha was a great teacher. He went on, of course, to be a teacher. And one of the things that really makes the Buddha great, and I really feel is essential in anything that Lucy and I do as far as our message, and that is that the Buddha would say that if what I tell you doesn't resonate with you, if you don't feel it, then just ignore it. I want people, not personally, I can only speak for myself, but I know Lucy feels the same. I want people who see any message that we convey here on YouTube, or perhaps later, person to person, that this message is not about Lucy and I. There are too many cults of personalities out there, and you can get wrapped up in any personality, and that personality could be the Christ or the Buddha or Lucifer. If you get wrapped up in a personality, then you're not getting a message. I want anything that I say to be questioned, anything I say. Respectfully questioned would be nice. And if you don't agree with something that I say, if it doesn't resonate with you, or anything Lucy says, anything we put up on YouTube, then just ignore it. Take what you can from what we're putting out there and leave what you don't want. It's fine. That's the way any message, any spiritual message should be. I'm not telling you what the truth is. She's not telling you what the truth is. We're telling you what our truth is. You have to know and understand what your truth is. And really, as I've already stated before, the only way that you can really know yourself is to meditate. Now, I wanted to discuss my avatar here. I've changed it recently, but it's an avatar I use and have used for some time. It's a symbol that I prefer over any other symbol because of its simplicity. It is the X. You see it here on my chest. It is obviously something that is very significant to me. The X symbolizes the true divine nature. And the true divine nature is not God, because the Western concept of God is just so not true. There is not a divine being that's above us, that knows all, that sees all. Okay, we're all part of that. We are all part of that. All of us. I'm not any more special than anyone else. None of us are higher than anyone else. Some of us are more aware than others. But we will all eventually get there. Eventually. And that is the understanding, I am God. I don't need to look out here to find it. There is no creative force, which we've already discussed in our last video. So there's nothing above me. There's nothing below me. We are all part of this oneness. And you can look at it in different ways, and of course you will, because you're not going to look at it the same way I do. But from what I resonate with, I perceive this oneness between me and everything else. Once you perceive that, once you become more enlightened or in a higher state of consciousness, what you want to do is you want to help other human beings. Your nature is to love others once you truly come to a level of enlightenment. If you don't love others, if you don't care for others, if you still look at things as this us and them mentality, and you still look at things as here's God and here's me, He's the creator and I am His creation, then you haven't reached enlightenment. You haven't reached it. Am I in a position to say that? I'm sorry. Yes, I am in a position to say that. I mean, you may not like it. You may think it's a self-righteous statement for me to say it. But you haven't reached enlightenment until you truly understand you are God and what that means. So, I just wanted to discuss this a little bit. Here at the end of the video, I want to show you my altar here, Lucy and my altar, since she does meditate with me. And I want to show you how I sit in meditation, and I will also put a link up here. This might be the most important link that I put up in the discussion here, and that is the link to a video about how to practice Zazen meditation. Please, if you're interested in that, please watch the whole video, because there's parts in the beginning where they're going to be showing you meditation that a beginner couldn't possibly do. So there are beginning meditation towards the end of this video that I'll be putting up. But here I'll show you how I meditate. This pillow here is called a Zafu. I've had this particular one for several years. It's big because I have a big ass. When you sit in meditation, as I will show in the video, the other video, fine video about it. You want to sit with your back straight. This style here is called Burmese, with your leg in front. Usually you can get to this position after a while. Taking yoga helps, of course. The style in which I sit in is a half lotus position. Full lotus, you have this foot on this side and this foot on this side. I actually do this backwards. I didn't realize I was doing it backwards until I was told sometime later. Usually you put your right leg on top of your left. I do it backwards. All of this will be in this other video. If you're interested in meditation, you can do this on a chair. You know what, I'll show you basically how to do it on a chair too. But I really recommend the video I'll be putting here in the discussion section. Now, you want to get your back straight, straight. Head forward, back. You put your hand, your left hand, over your right, and then you keep. This is the Zen posture. Other Buddhists do it a little differently. And you sit like this, and you count your breaths. 1, 2, 3, 4. I had a sensei tell me in Atlanta that the breath, when you think about the breath coming in and out, you count to 10 with the breaths. 1, 2, out. 3, in. 4, out. You count your breaths up to 10, and then you start again at 1. The sensei in Atlanta was telling us that the first thing that you do in this life is you breathe once you come out of your mother's womb. And the last thing you do is exhale. Inhale, life. Exhale, death. Inhale, life. Exhale, death. Now, I understand that Buddhism, especially Zen Buddhism, isn't for everyone. But I would highly recommend that you find some form of meditation, because you cannot become an enlightened, higher sentient being if you don't know yourself. If everyone else in the world knows you and can tell you things about yourself that you don't know, then you're not getting there. And meditation is the best way of doing it. Here, I'll show you briefly how to do it on a chair. You just sit forward with your legs at an angle, at a 90-degree angle, with your back straight. This, anyone could do. Anyone. And this is how I started, and this is how anybody pretty much starts, unless they're really flexible. So, that's that. Here's my altar. The new guy down here is named Manjushri. He is the Bodhisattva of wisdom. And of course we've got you know who up here. In front of him, I recently got a Shiva. Is of course Hindu, but I like Shiva. I think he's cool. And over here we have the Bodhisattva of compassion, Guan Yin, And over here we have Tara. Now she is the head, the person who started what's called Tantra Buddhism, or it's associated, of course, with Buddhism, yes, but also Hinduism, more often Hinduism, actually. She is a bodhisattva. Tantra is a very interesting way of becoming enlightened. You might want to look that up. I'll put another link to that here in the description box. Thanks for watching. This is Entropy. Hope you enjoyed it. More to come. Bye for now.